Përshëndetje. Në intervistën e sotme do të flasim me fotografin e njohur gjerman Alfred Diebold, lidhur me ekspozitën e zhvilluar së fundmi në ambientet e qendrës për hapje dhe dialog, një bashkëpunim ky me ambasadën gjermane. Pse e menduam kaq të rëndësishme këtë intervistë? Sepse fotot nuk janë të zakonshme, janë foto të cilat kanë qenë të mbyllura për publikun dhe vetëm së fundi kanë arritur që të kapen nga zoti Diebold. Dhe kjo ekspozit do të qëndroj, ka qenë fillimisht një ekspozit virtuale, tani është kthyer në një ekspozit fizike dhe do të jetë e hapur pranë qendrës për hapje dhe dialog deri në datën 5 nëntor. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be able to talk to you about our exhibition.
I saw the photos and they were quite interesting, so what I want to know is why the bunkers?
Well, the bunkers is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Albania, because it's so famous in a way that so many bunkers were built in Albania. I believe it was more than 170,000. And when I came first to Albania in 1995, which is quite a long time ago, and I arrived at the airport and we traveled towards Tirana at the time, there were bunkers everywhere. You know, it was something that you saw immediately, and we were wondering what was the purpose of all this, and things, of course, have changed, as we all know. No more bunkers on the way to town.
We will be brushing through the photos, and I just want to know, where did you took these photos?
That was quite amazing in Kuchove. Kuchove is an air base. Today I think it will become like a NATO base, if I know it correctly. But during the time of communist past, it was the main military base for the Air Force, where they had parked, or they had these MiG fighter planes. And that was very interesting. I had the chance to visit Kuchove, and it was the best to take these shots with a drone, so I could see from high above the incredible number of fighter planes. So Kuchove near Berat is the place where you were able to find them.
I heard that the whole area was demolished and the airplanes are not there anymore, so you had the chance to take the last photo, the last image of it?
If that's the case, even better that the chance was there to visit the air base. It was in 2017, so it was about 5 years ago, and we were welcome. We had the permission to go, and we made a documentation of it, and the better that these photos now exist.
We have a proof that existed.
This is taken in Porto Palermo, and this is the east entrance, because there's one towards facing the sea and one facing the bay. So this is the bay in Porto Palermo. When you come across from Himara over the hill, you drive along the coast, and you can actually see also the gate in Porto Palermo, where you have this fortification, the tunnel, where you could enter with submarines at that time.
And this one?
It's difficult for me to pronounce it correctly.
It's okay.
The location is Jaftan.
Okay.
You know where it is? Jaftan is near Lake Ochot. So there are still bunkers visible, because nowadays you don't see them that much anymore. They were demolished.
Some of them were demolished.
Taken out and taken as building materials.
Yeah, even Albanians have a split opinions about bunkers. Some of us want them to be demolished because they remind us of the dark times of Enver Hoxhës, and some of us think that they should be remaining because they are a part of our history, so why not?
Yeah, this is understandable. We would have the same discussion in Germany about what is left of our GDR history, and I think it's good to keep some.
It's good to keep them.
Yeah, not all, of course, but at specific locations, I think it would be very good.
I also want to make a question, more like drawing some parallel lines from the war in Ukraine. We thought that there was never going to be another war, and here we are. So the question that remains is, what if? So maybe we should keep the bunkers, who knows what happens? Or you don't think there might be a chance to use them?
In principle, as we see today, a country needs to be prepared to protect itself, to protect its interest. But in times of NATO, and thanks to NATO, Albania, I think, is in a very comfortable position. So that is very good. But when you are facing an enemy as it is today, that Russia is attacking Ukraine, of course,
anything can happen.
It's very bad. And also in Germany, there's a big discussion going how much funds we should make available for Ukraine, for our defense, and also, of course, for Ukraine, as you say correctly, because Ukraine, in a way, is also protecting our freedom. Our
yes,
interest.
Russia is not only attacking Ukraine. Europe might be.
No, it's our values
as well.
Actually. Yeah, it's very true. And some of the photos I took in Porto, for example, they remind me now of what we see on television of these tanks that were destroyed. And you see them in Porto, you see them in Albania, a similar situation.
So what about this photo?
This is in Pasha Liman. Mm-hmm. Pasha Liman today is an operational Navy base, but still there are some ships of old times that are just rusting. And it found my interest, I should say, because it's a bit almost a piece of art, you know. It's the combination, the colors, the way it looks. So my objective was not only to document like the airplanes as they sit, but also the impression you get when you are at a place. You wonder how it came to this situation, and yeah, it's very interesting in the Bay of Oricom. You know, it's a very historic place.
Yeah, I've been there.
At the same time, yes.
Okay, so this one?
This is in Kuchove. It's part of the base where they had hangars to repair aircrafts. And they are still there. Of course, they are not being used at the moment, but I understand it's going to be rebuilt. It will be turned into a really operational NATO base. Yeah, part of Kuchove. Kuchove, by the way, has an incredibly long runway. I think it's maybe 3 or even more kilometers. You could land with any gigantic aircraft in the world would be able to.
So that would make a great NATO base.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm very happy for Albania that such places can be used again, you know. So they are not just there and wait to, I know, for
be
nothing.
Used.
Yeah, it's very good.
And
so this is what I was talking about. This is Porto. There was this tank battalion, one of 12 during this time. And these are old Chinese-made tanks. Because as you know, before it was a good relationship with the Soviet Union, but after they split apart, then Chinese became best friends of Albania, and they helped to bring weapons for defense. Yeah, but it's incredible, you know. Remains. I call it remains of paranoia, isn't it? So
the title was quite a catch. So why paranoia? Why do you call them a paranoia? Because the bunkers are not photographed for the first time. I mean, Robert Heckman did something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
And he portrayed them in a light of hope of something that could be used, could be transformed, recycled. Yeah. While in your photos, I saw a hint of this paranoia, a hidden fear.
Yeah. I did not start the project with this title. It came over time. When I saw this over-militarization, you know, a small country having an air force with hundreds of fighter planes, pilots, submarines, tanks. The whole country was full of weapons and defense structures. I asked myself, why so much investments went into defense? So there must have been a reason. And what everyone told me was that the leader at that time, Enver Hoxhës, was so afraid of the neighbors, of NATO. They never attacked, so in a way it was thought by myself that it's a bit of paranoia, that you had to invest so much into defense. And at the same time, I think the leader wanted to demonstrate to the people how strong
we were.
So it's a bit of paranoia, you know, you over-militarize.
Yeah, but I also believe that the paranoia was not without cause, because Albania has always been, maybe not attacked, but feared its neighbors. We were not really good neighbors.
Frankly speaking, I'm not a historian. It was not my ambition to give an explanation why things
are this way.
Were as they were. My objective was to show what is the situation today. How does it look? What is left over from these times? What can we learn, possibly? But the analysis, I think, should be done by people who know much more about this subject. Same location, Proceste. I wonder how it was so dismantled that it ends up in such a mess, you know. It's parts of this tank, and they just dumped it. I don't even know why they put it apart, you know. Maybe it's also waiting to be taken to Elbasan for demolish. Yeah. This is a tunnel in Kučove, and I found this quite amazing, that all sorts of things is left behind. Wings of an airplane, some other parts of an aircraft. It's just put there. And I think it's not a healthy place. So the smell of, I don't know, of gasoline or some other substances. So I think they told us, don't stay too long inside. Yeah. But you can see there was quite a strategy behind, you know, in hiding strategic weapons in tunnels so they cannot be easily destroyed. Wow. Yeah, when I look at it now, here you have these boxes with spare parts. Then you have these MiG fighter planes. I think they are MiG-15, quite old ones, and they just sit there. And I could not believe. Jada was the first place. I mean, this is inside the tunnel of Jada. When you go inside, there's a bit of light in the beginning, but the more you go inside, the darker it gets. You have to imagine that there's almost no light. And you start walking, one plane, the next plane, and another one, and you can walk for 400 meters.
Like a never-ending tunnel.
Yeah, like a never-ending tunnel. In another plane, in another plane. So there is full of air.
Paranoia.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, why do you need such a number of fighter planes in a tunnel? And it was impressive, you know. And another, it looked as if you're going down to hell, kind of. You know, it's getting darker and darker, and more planes, more weapons. Yeah. Quite amazing. Yeah. Yeah, this coat is hanging out of a window. Sasan. Sasan is a very interesting island, actually. The only problem is there's no fresh water. So basically you cannot live there. But during communist times, this was an outpost in the sea. And even during the time of Italian occupation in the 1920s, there are still buildings left, some architecture is left from that time. But this one is more during communist times. You see,
Sazan was mostly used as the military base, not likely like a tourist attraction. Or yeah. It's an amazing island, but it was mostly used for military.
Absolutely. Oh, here. This is also one of my favorite places. Yeah, because the bay of Pasha Liman is so historical, with Oricum next door, with all these ancient remnants. And here this submarine in these newer ships. They are still in operation. And they patrol. These are patrol boats for patrolling the coast. And in all these buildings, they are still being used today. But of course, it's also blocked to the public because it's military.
It's something
so
that we didn't just let to rest. This is something that works.
It works, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was what is left of buildings that were built by Italians, also in Sasan. Someone told me Mussolini had a house, had a villa there, but I didn't know. I only heard it yesterday from someone. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know that either.
Yeah, so we should investigate.
Yeah.
If Mussolini ever has been on this island. I doubt it, but who knows?
Also, if he has a house there, we should take the photos as well.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
This looks like the inside part of a plane.
It's a cockpit.
Okay.
Yeah. That shows more or less the state in which these aircrafts were, all of them. It looks a bit like a poster of a movie, isn't it? This MiG-15 inside the Gjada, greeting Albanian flag, the pilot. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, hundreds of pilots you had.
We do.
Amazing, you can meet them today. Pilots came to the opening of the exhibition and they said, well, this is exactly this where we were. This one other person came in, he explained this was the aircraft I was taking care of, I was responsible for. Yeah.
They have
it
memories
was quite
there.
emotional, yeah, absolutely. And this map gives you an overview where you find the remains of Paranoia, where we went in Kuchove, Pogeste, Porto Palermo, Pasha Liman, Sasan, Gjada.
Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, you could probably find even more, but these were the ones that attracted me the most. Because it's not that I started out saying I want to go here and there. It's only one person told me, oh, you have to go there. This also would be of interest. And so I moved along. Because at that time I was living in Tirana. So I did not come as a visitor, I was living.
What were your perceptions of the time living here? What did you thought of Tirana, of Albania? It's quite a different reality.
Yeah, no, I have to really think about it because at that time my wife was ambassador, a German ambassador, and I had a job at Marubi Film School. I was teaching documentary filmmaking, so I was in touch with people who live here. So I did not feel like a tourist. I felt like someone who is part of Tirana at that time. So it was wonderful, great time. I met so many interesting people. I have good memories. So I'm coming back many times.
Great to know.
Yeah.
I also have a last question. You are inside the bunker. It's totally a different reality. What do you think in that specific moment that the camera clicks?
Yeah. It's bizarre. You wonder what this means, you know, to myself, what it meant to people who were there to build it. Also, the history that comes with it. I saw this film, Colonel Bunker, which was done by Kwitim Jashku. So there are many thoughts, you know. of the people, of those who made some artistic work about it and about the defense, I think it's something stronger than just the image.
You did a whole deal of great photos, but what I really want to ask is, what did you get from it? Let's say a perspective of it?
Yeah, we shot thousands of photos. It became a project, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity, because not everyone gets the opportunity to go to these places. So I felt very lucky that I had the chance to make this documentation. I think, as it proves today, it's very good that we have these photos. So as a project, I think it's very good. Now we need to think, what is the relevance of these places for Albania today? And maybe this would be worth a discussion, you know, to see how to deal with this part of remains. Maybe we forget about it. Maybe we turn it into a museum, as you have House of Leaves or Bunkerët 1, Bunkerët 2. It would be worth, you know, just keeping something of the past for the future, and for people who visit, and also for the young people. I think they know very little about the past. So that would be useful, I think.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. I'm very glad.
I really enjoyed this interview. I learned a lot.
Yeah, same for me. I come back anytime. Thank you very much.
Thank you.